Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we're going to have a look at what Wargaming think is the top 5 tanks for newbies. Yes, the top 5 tanks for the new players. And yeah, I think this was probably the most stupid video that Wargaming has done, because most of these tanks in this top 5 are not for new players. So let's get straight into it, and we're going to talk about each tank that they think is a good tank for new players, and maybe what tank we could replace it with. But we'll have a look into these tanks. So if you haven't checked out the video, do go check out that video, but don't really pay too much attention in that for their recommendations, because honestly I think it's kind of stupid. There are some tanks in there that I can understand why they put it in there, but you've got to also bear in mind that this is for new players. Like, new players are not going to do well in these tanks. So the first up, as you can see, number 5 is the WZ113 GFT. Now, personally, I love this tank. I really do love this tank. But for a new player, really, the WZ113G? No. This is not a fantastic tank destroyer for a new player. If they're going to add a tank like this, maybe the E3 would be a tank to replace this. Yes, it does have good armor profile. Its penetration is really good. The alpha is really good. But again, for a new player, I don't think that this is the right tank for you. It does take some skill getting used to. And I just think that something maybe like an E3 would do a bit better for newer players than the WZ. So this is one of the tanks that I would definitely recommend once you get better at the game, because it's fantastic. Again, maybe even newer players, maybe the Object 268. It's very similar. It doesn't quite have the armor profile that this tank has got, but it does have that speed. And once you really sort of learn how to play the Object 268, then you would probably learn how to play the WZ. But even, to be honest, the Object 268 I wouldn't recommend for a new player. So yeah, big down thumbs down there for Wargaming on that number 5. Now, number 4, again, they've got the M48 Patton. It's a good tank when played correctly. And now you have to play this tank correctly for it to be any good. And do you really think, Wargaming, that a new player or a newbie player will do well in this tank? Because the only people that do well, or the only way that you're going to do well, is if you know how to play this tank. Now, there are loads of mediums out there. Loads and loads of mediums in tier 10. And yes, the Patton can be good. It's good in a hold down position. That is about it. There are plenty of other mediums out there in tier 10 that I would recommend over the M48 Patton. Maybe you've got the T62 or even the E50M. But I definitely, with 100%, would not recommend the Patton for a new player. And again, number 3, the Jagdpanzer E100. Seriously, like, this is not a new player tank. Like, it takes a lot of skill to play this. The armor profile, I mean, I would even swap this for an E100 because it plays very similar. However, the E100, it has the exact same armor profile, but it has a turret. So yeah, I mean, angled, yes, the tank is good. It's got a nice gun, but it's very slow, and it takes skill to be able to angle the Jagdpanzer E100. And it's the same with the E100. A new player or a newbie player would not perform well in the Jagdpanzer E100. So far, that is 3 of their tanks that I would disagree with to being on this list. 3 out of 3. Are they going to get any right? Are they going to have any that I would agree with them? Let's have a look. So number 2, I would agree with. The Type 71 is a fantastic tank all around. It's got good armor, it's got good speed, it is a good tank for a newer player. Because of the armor profile, you're able to make mistakes, you're able to get away with it, you're going to get some bounces, you're going to be able to learn a lot of things with the Type 71. You're going to be able to learn hold down, you're going to be able to learn side scrape, face hugging. There is a lot that you would be able to learn with the Type 71. So this is actually a tank that I would recommend being in the top 5. However, this is number 2 on Wargaming's list. I would maybe even add this at maybe number 1, because you can see that armor profile there when you're looking at the standard AP round. It's got great armor. The armor is absolutely fantastic, and at the moment I would probably recommend this at number 1. But Wargaming have gone number 1 with the WZ113. Are you serious? Are you absolutely serious? The 113 at number 1 for a new player? The 113, sorry, yes, it's got one of the most, it's the best DPM of heavies in tier 10. It's got a fantastic armor profile on the turret, but it is slow as hell. The traverse is slow as hell, and it takes a lot of skill to be able to play the 113. So for Wargaming to have this tank as their number 1, I do not know what they're smoking. I love these kind of videos from Wargaming, and I do think that they need to do more of these kind of videos. They get a lot of views, they've got a lot of subs, and people will listen to them. But making them go in this direction, no wonder why our player base is how it is. People are now going to grind these tanks. They're going to grind the 113. They're going to grind the WZ113G. And they're also going to grind things like the Patton and the Jaegeru, to only find actually they are useless because they don't know how to play them. Where are the likes of the IS-7, the IS-4, the E3, or anything like that? Like, why add these tanks? Because 4 out of the 5 tanks that Wargaming have suggested for you guys to grind, because these are newbie tanks, the top 5 newbie tanks, or top 5 tanks for newbie players, is absolutely wrong. You should not listen to this advice, because 4 out of the 5 of these tanks are not for newer players. They are all good tanks when you learn a bit of skill, when you know what you're doing, when you know how to angle, when you know how to hold down. You know, if you're a newer player and you're listening to that and they're saying, get in the pattern and just go hold down, people are just going to go hold down. They're not going to move. They're not going to literally know how to hold down properly. And I just think that this video from Wargaming was absolutely wrong. And that is not the top 5 tanks for newbie players. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Like, I know a few people do agree. I've spoke to a few people, and yeah, they think it's wrong. But yeah, I'd like to see the likes of the IS-7 or the IS-4, or even the Kranwagen. You can even add the Kranwagen or the Yo or anything like that. But yeah, definitely not these tanks that Wargaming are suggesting. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.